Evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at whatever time it is now, 7:01 PM. This is the regular council meeting for March 4th, 2026 of the Borough of Swissvale. Let's go through our roll call. Dr. Alfonso Wells.
Present.
Ms. Grabowski.
Here.
Mr. Haynes. Dr. Jeffrey.
Here.
Ms. Stribling. Ms. Swartzwelder.
Here.
Mayor Swartzwelder. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Public comment, you have two public comments. The first is Luis Walker to speak about feeding rodents, deer, raccoons, and ants feeding. Hello again.
So, the reason why I'm speaking is because I called, I don't know who I spoke to. But, the ordinance on the books is, about feeding wild animals that has something to do with pigeons from 1935. Now, my neighbor and me been going at it before the police get involved this year. We've already going at it again. He actually goes out and hand feed deer, raccoons, and I just seen a big old rat. He actually sits out there in his underwear as they come up to him, and now they're coming up to us. So me, along with my other neighbors that I was waiting for the rest of them to come, we're all upset about all these deer in our backyard cleaning up deer food. And it's becoming an issue because when I walk in my house, like when I go back tonight, deer will walk up to me. And I explained to him several times to quit feeding these wild animals. He's domesticating the deers, he's domesticating the raccoons. Raccoons are starting to come out during the daytime because he's hand feeding them. He's buying big bags of cereal, birdseed, pouring them in the front of his house. And I caught him outside throwing mothballs. He said because he had a whole bunch of molds. It's an issue, it's a problem, and I need someone to update the books on about feeding wild animals and domesticating them. Also living on Lilmont, and I'm sure you already know, the traffic is getting worse. There's really speeding up around the corner. It's worse now than it's ever been before. They're coming around that corner to where they're like doing abrupt stops and it's street, just flying through our street and everything. I don't know if you could I know we talked about speed bumps before and they said they couldn't do that. But how about some cameras or maybe the police need to come with them more often? But that's my two big issues, but them rodents and everything, after I seen that big rat this big, and he actually drove a hole in the neighbors across the street, his house. That's why I was hoping they come. But a rat, there's rats and stuff over there, and I don't wanna deal with this again this year. So.
Thank you for the comment.
Can I get the address of the offender? What-
Yeah, I'm 117, he's 115, he's across from me. Tim, I don't know Tim's last name.
Said 1:15.
He's on 115. He's not 150. I'm 117, so he gotta be what, 118? Cause I'm on the other side, but he feeds them dang things all the time. If you look in front of his house, he has like a little trough. He bought this plant thing and he pours food in it so that the deer can go up and eat out of it and then the raccoons. So it's a serious problem. I'm not the only person that complained about that there. The others, people were supposed to come, but
What street is it?
little one.
Chief, is there anything we have? Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything we have on the books that would?
Code enforcement wise, no, I don't think we've ever really run into this, but I was gonna reach out to the game commission because they govern overall wildlife.
Yeah.
And see if there's anything that they can do.
Perfect. Thank you. Sure. Before we address Lomont, let's go to Michelle Baldridge, who also wants to talk about some speeding concerns on Lomont.
Well, it's not that top and, speed is a problem. And, Deneen, you said you had family on Belmont. Have you spoken to them about the speeding? And they said, you spoke to your family about the speeding on Belmont? I did. They think it's a problem?
We're not addressing this.
No, I thought I saw it on the agenda last week, but I don't see it on the paper. But the speeding is a huge issue, so maybe cameras will be a cheaper issue than speed bumps since, the borough doesn't have the money, for speed bumps. Cameras would probably be a cheaper.
So what's your address?
133. 133.
Yeah, I mean, what we did have some discussion around it last week. Basically what we did is bumped it to the Active Transportation Committee. They are gonna meet this month to have some conversation about it. I mean, I think they have a lot on their agenda. And to give us some recommendations. You know, we did talk about the possibility of putting down some speed bumps at a number of places. Because Lilmont, it's an issue on Lilmont, it's an issue on Woodstock, there are a number of other streets, Roslyn, we've got complaints for. And so what we discussed last week was trying to find the most equitable way to provide some of those traffic calming measures. Also knowing that we have later this year, a study, won't probably be done this year, but a study that we're going to take borough-wide to determine kind of where some of the worst streets are for this and figure out what we can do for a more permanent solution. The other short-term decision that we had made was that we had, as part of the merger, a couple of speeding signs, like keep your speed, this is how much, you know, if you go down like Ardmore, the speed limit, and then it'll say this is what your speed is, as somewhat of a deterrent, those collect some data, how many cars go through, what those speeds are. Did any of those get set up this week?
No, they will have to be put together and charged,
Okay,
and they should be ready to go up next day or so.
okay, so in the next day or so, we're gonna get one, prioritized one at Beaumont. Yes,
There is a feature in there where they'll count the vehicles
Yes.
and document the speed of the vehicles. So, you know, that will also be set up where it can be downloaded. Needs to be charged.
so at least in the short term, that will provide some type of accountability, in the short term, so.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Our next item is not on the agenda, but I'm gonna turn it over to Mayor Swiftle.
So, if everyone doesn't know, our chief Watson is retiring from Swissvale. And we have a,
Okay, go there.
Chief, come up here. I have a little something to read, so. Chief Charles Watson has dedicated his whole entire adult life to serving the community he calls home. He's a lifelong resident of Monroeville and began his law enforcement career in July of 1998. When he was hired as a patrol officer with the Swissvale Police Department. From his first day in uniform, Chief Watson approached policing not simply as a profession, but as a calling rooted in service, integrity, and community trust. Over more than 25 years of municipal law enforcement, including over 15 years in executive leadership and 7 years as chief of police, he has steadily risen through the ranks by earning the respect of his peers, elected officials, and the community he serves. His leadership philosophy is grounded in accountability, professionalism, and a firm belief in the 21st century policing principles that balance enforcement with compassion and engagement. After serving as patrol officer, patrol sergeant, and later assistant chief of police, Chief Watson was appointed chief of police for Swissvale Police Department in 2018. In that role, he led every aspect of department operations from field services to administrative oversight. He successfully guided the department through PLEAC accreditation, secured more than $400,000 in grant funding, and oversaw the construction of a new police facility. Investments that strengthen both infrastructure and public confidence. Commander for the 2024 presidential candidate visit represented the Department District Attorney Stephen Zappella's ALPR committee and served as third vice president of the Allegheny County Chiefs of Police Association. His commitment to our community policing is reflected in initiatives such as the department's annual Blue Santa toy drive, which has distributed more than 4,000 gifts to local families. In 2026, Chief Watson was appointed chief of police for the Swissvale Braddock Hills Regional Police Department, where he now serves as chief executive officer, overseeing a $3.3 million budget for more than 20 sworn and civilian personnel across 2 municipalities. In this role, he continues to focus on strategic planning, fiscal responsibility, officer development, and strengthening community partnerships. Throughout his career, Chief Watson has worked collaboratively with federal, state, and county agencies on major investigations and regional task force. An act 120 certified officer with advanced executive leadership training. He combines operational experience with forward-thinking leadership. For Chief Watson, policing has never been just about enforcement. It has always been about people. His decades of service reflect a deep and personal commitment to ensuring that communities he serves remain safe, supported, and proud of their police department. We thank you, Chief Watson. An appreciation of service award. This award is hereby presented to Charles E. Watson. In recognition of your faithful, dedicated, and selfless commitment to the citizens of Swissvale during your 28 years of service with the Swissvale and Swissvale Red Hills Regional Police Departments. Beginning as a part-time patrolman and rising to the rank of chief. August 9th, 1998 through March 13th, 2026. On behalf of the citizens and elected officials, we thank and commend you for your service. It has been my extreme honor to have you as a friend and the head of our police department. You've done amazing things for us and you will be missed. But you leave a wonderful legacy and a department that is very proud to have had you as chief. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Correspondent Slater. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you, Chief, for your many years of service here. So, yes. We're gonna move on to our council actions, go under 4A minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of the January 28th, 2026 agenda meeting and the February 4th, 2026 regular council meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion as read, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Down to 4B, finance.
I move to approve the Borough of Swissvale paid bills in the amount of. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay, $2,332,758.20. Second.
Discussion?
Gotta pay the bills.
And just to clarify, we're not getting the store away here. 1.3 million of the 2.3 billion was borough building related for their invoices. And 540,000 was for the Elton Sand bill for this month. So our regular monthly bills were about $500,000. The other two were the special things.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor of approving motion as read, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Down to 4C.
I move to approve resolution 26.05 to approve a comprehensive maintenance services agreement between Swissvale Borough and the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the mowing of PennDOT right of way in the amount of $3,826.02 annually for the period of 2026 to 2028. Second.
From the table, any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the motion to agree to this once they have gone through the Article 43 process that's outlined in the collective bargaining agreement with Ashley Council. And if they do not do that, they have responded to us that they have not done. If I would recommend this council reject this agreement if they do not go through it by the collective bargaining.
Okay, that's is there a second to Mr. Haynes' motion?
Second.
Okay, that is second. So any discussion on the amendment before we vote on whether or not we accept the amendment?
I can explain there's some. So for outsourcing for any sort of, covered work under the collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME Council 13, which is a public sector union that represents 65,000 employees across Pennsylvania. The PennDOT has a responsibility to go through what's called Article 43, which is petition AFSCME Council 13. They're very familiar with the process. They do it all the time to get an agreement from Council 13 that they can outsource this service. And there's a process. And based on the response from PennDOT, they've not gone through that process. So that's why I make that recommendation to this council not to approve something that would violate the collective bargaining agreement.
And just what if if we were to deny it, what does that mean for us, or does it matter?
We would mow the area around Parkway at Monongahela Lab, and we've been mowing that for a number of years. We would discontinue doing that if you depend on sand, so it may not get mowed, it may not, and they will pay us $38, so that's pretty much it.
Wasn't there a communication back in February on this very topic that we alerted to them that there was this outstanding issue about a labor agreement and that we were not act until that got resolved?
They responded, which I sent your packets a week and a half ago. They responded with a very clean answer. And that was on the agenda last week, to discuss whether or not. It sounded, when I listened to the meeting, it sounded like it was going to make it, that sense.
I thought Mr. McTiernan had said that
No, but I didn't discuss it with my
Right.
colleague.
I thought,
You have a question? I mean, as a rule, it's the responsibility of the contracting party to deal with their own collective bargaining representatives. Now, whether they fail to do this or whether it's regarded by the union and the Commonwealth as just de minimis, too small to worry about. They've never protested. And of course, the union could always grieve it if they objected to it. It doesn't sound like it's ever been a problem, but it's just a risk you take that if they just walk away from it, then you're either gonna, if you don't mow it for free, you're gonna have probably, how much confidence do you have they're gonna do it? But that's probably a little out of my lane. As far as the legal issue goes, it's really their responsibility to deal with their own union.
Oh, absolutely. It is their responsibility if they've fallen short, and that's why I think that the council needs to put a criteria to make that force them to do it, or they're gonna have to cut the grass. I'll give everyone the district director's personal cell phone. If they don't cut the exit, Greg's laughing because he knows I will. I will post the cell phone on every single street corner. Because if they're not gonna go through the process, I don't think we as a community should allow them to violate the contract. If it's de minimis, just get a letter from Council 13, and I'll be the first one to propose it.
And maybe again, I apologize if I'm stepping out of my lane. I do a lot of this kind of work. Just about every community, there's some kind of reciprocal agreement with PennDOT. Usually more extensive, usually snow removals, things like that. This is, a very small contract as these contracts go. But
it shouldn't seem all that difficult for them to do what they're supposed to do.
from my point of view. Why didn't they say everything's fine? Right, we've done it.
Mr. Matthew, you have the anything issue.
No, none of the work.
All right, so what we are voting for is voting in favor or against the amendment. So an I vote changes the amendment, right? I'm correct.
Yes,
We haven't
right.
voted on
And
that.
that's the
Okay.
condition.
So it changes the motion to the amendment, an I vote changes it, a nay vote maintains the current. As was made, the motion that was originally made, and that we go back to discussing that one.
All right, so
That
maybe
one.
someone should read the motion that actually being voted on.
Do you want to restate again?
Sure.
The amendment, this is what we're voting, so
Yes.
restate the amendment.
Everything is written there. No, I would say something along the lines of, I move to approve resolution 26-05 to approve a comprehensive maintenance service agreement between Smithville and Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the mowing of PennDOT right away in the amount of $3,806.02 annually for the period 2026 to 2028, as long as PennDOT can demonstrate that it has complied with requirements under the collective bargaining agreement with absolute counsel. And Greg sent a very detailed, literally spelling out exactly what I had said the violation was, and their response is, we didn't go to.
So they acknowledge that happened.
All right, so all in favor of amending the motion, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Nay.
I'm
All right.
not sure.
We're gonna need to do a roll call. So let's start with Dr. Alfonso Wells. Ms. Grabowski,
I,
Mr. Haynes,
Aye.
Dr. Jeffrey,
Nay.
Ms. Stribling,
Nay.
Ms. Swartzwelder,
I,
and I'm nay. So unfortunately, the amendment fails. So we're back to discussing the original motion, which I'll just restate, move to approve resolution 26-05 to approve the comprehensive maintenance service agreement between Silsville Borough, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the mowing of PennDOT right away in the amount of $3,826.02 annually, period of 2026 to 2028. Any additional discussion on this before we vote? Sure, we'll do a roll call again. So this is Dr. Alfonso Wells, Ms. Grabowski, Mr. Haynes,
Nay.
Dr. Jeffrey,
Aye.
Ms. Stribling,
Aye.
Ms. Swartzwelder,
nay.
and I'm an aye. Motion passes 4-3. All right, let's move on to the next one under 4C.
I move to approve resolution 2606, opting in to the Allegheny County Community Development Block Grant Program for the years 2027, 2029.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I mean, you can, who wouldn't opt in to get free money? I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Doesn't hurt us at all. And
And it's very clearly stated, not opt in, you have no access to the money at all, so.
My big question was, because I wasn't here in 24 to vote on the prior resolution, I wanted to confirm that everything, you don't have any other changes, or substantive changes in this grant or our obligations under, and those answered my questions, go back to that's essentially the same agreement and contract.
Yeah, I distributed the resolution, previous resolution to everyone. So you can see it's almost just about word for word, most was 3 years ago.
All right, all in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve resolution 26-07, authorizing Saratoga to submit a grant application in the 2026 AARP Community Challenge Grant Program for improvements at the Church Street Parkway.
Second.
Motion's on the table. Any discussions?
I just am excited about the Church Street Parklet continuing to grow and becoming a lively place for the community. I think it's a beautiful vision that's coming together very well.
SEDCO has been doing wonderful work in bringing money and grants to the park, but specifically to really to our neighborhood and to give it back that we was looking for. Say that. So very happy that they keep going after this and that they keep writing these grants. Thank you.
All right, let's vote. All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve a grant submission for Richardson Steel Heritage Corporation on behalf of Smithville Borough for funding to construct a portable structure within the Smithville Park system.
Second.
Motion's on the table. Any discussion?
Yes, I have some observations about this proposal on several grounds. First, we as council heard about it was last week at the agenda meeting, which unfortunately is still done. I say unfortunately done virtually, because it means it's harder to see and communicate, to exchange documents, to see anything that's three-dimensional. So we were limited by what exactly we were being asked to consider or improved. And in particular, it's the main reason the organization that Wickard Steel seems to be coming to us is that there's one of many grants pending with a deadline pending, and so if we don't approve this now, apparently that grant opportunity is lost. But I'm quite hesitant to go forward before having all the information we need and all the due diligence we have to do. So as I understand it, it's a fairly interesting sculpture. We've all now seen at least a preliminary design, but it's just that, it's a preliminary design. That assuming it's constructed and assuming we think we like it, it still has to be located on an overlook apparently in the park. And we, particularly as Swissville Borough, are now responsible to place the infrastructure in place, to create some kind of pad. And then going forward, as I understand it, these sort of art projects or sculptures, it's on us. It's on us as a borough to maintain it. And critically, if it fails, if someone hurts themselves, it's like any kind of playground equipment, it's also our responsibility to address that problem or have it included somehow in our insurance coverage. And those are quite significant decisions that I think we should look at that as a whole. I think we should have a lot more information from either the artist or the foundation to more fully understand what we're getting into. And that's kind of it. I just think we need more time and we need to make a decision looking at the project as a whole, not just approving the students at Kappa, as I understand it, creating it. Because one question I had asked last week was, if we're not ready to have it installed, where does the sculpture go? And the answer was, well, we could store it somewhere in Kelly Furnace, and I would like a lot more information about that. And I had also asked, what exactly do we have to do to install it? How much time does that take? Do we need a crane? Can you go out there with a couple of our DPW staff? What does that involve and how much will that cost? And she could not give us any kind of clear answer. Although apparently there's a grant that we could qualify for, but that doesn't really say what that grant is, the chances of getting it. Is there a matching requirement? Which then means it's on us. And I think we know from our very intensive budget discussions, we don't have a bucket of extra money to spend on projects we didn't anticipate. And I, as an artist, I say, I think fabulous thing to have public art, but I think we need a lot more discussion and a lot more due diligence before we go forward with this particular project.
Well stated, Ms. Grabowski. I share some of the same concerns. I think it is nice, but I am also not willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars of borough resources that we have budgeted to install. I think if we knew that this was that second grant, we would get and could install it, I think it would be a nice little art addition. I would be open to approving it if with no strings attached, that if, they want it installed in a year and we don't have a grant, it's like, oh, sorry, we're not installing it. That's kind of my opinion.
We didn't say that we had to install.
Well, then it has to be put somewhere.
Well, no, I understand.
She did say something about it being installed in the calendar year, and she said something.
Yeah.
That didn't, she didn't listen to me.
Yeah, from what I heard from listening to the meeting, it seemed like she's really pushing for it to be installed this calendar year. And it's not gonna happen, because we don't, the one question she asked several times was about the improvements that are planned out there, and they're gonna be completed this year. I mean, that's a multi-year, multi-million-dollar plan to complete those improvements, so, we don't even have the second part of the grant, the match for the upper playground that we need to work on this year. So, we're not going to be doing anything at the rear of the lower area, the equipment dump area at the park, in 2026, unless money falls from the sky. I don't see that happening. So, that would be the only thing back there. If we did something, in 2026.
I mean, calling was mentioned as another potential
Oh,
area,
that's
but still, we gotta spend $10,000+ on concrete work.
The other thing too is, we're going to do the study for the trail this year, so that reach grant. And one of the areas we want to reach is, called the playground, coming up on that hill. And the only place where we can put that structure would be in the area where we have to meet that. So, we may end up, if we put it in there, we may end up blocking our own access, our future access to the trail. Because we don't own a lot of property to the left of the basketball, we only own maybe 15, 18 feet there. So, we would be, that's targeting ourselves for future development.
I think for future, it's definitely something to consider, because it definitely looks like one of the, well. if you can imagine, right? One of those things I've seen in some of the other parks, other places, in New York and, Chicago, where they have these things, I'm not sure can afford it right now. I definitely like the fact that they said that they would help us write, like, grants to, I guess, install it later on. But you're right, you're not in any condition right now really to be able to install anything. And if they, if they made it, I'm not sure we put it without a study that showed that it would sink in either location. Because that just reminds me of the idea that talked about for Memorial Park, have that, wow, that just makes me like glitter. But yeah, I'm not sure that you're ready for that at the moment. But I don't know.
I'll just add that, yeah, in addition to what was said, I do think the whole thing is very rushed. Feels kind of very forced. I do have concerns if we are to do this at some point in public art in general, making sure that the structures are reflective of the community and has some input. I may have missed it, how this not, what is that, who's just, but also, having, opportunities for our residents to hear more about it outside of one meeting, which was our last meeting. So just from a community engagement perspective, I think this is not a due diligence, and I will not be voting for this.
Just to clarify, I had that model at last month's meeting in a box here. I thought Ms. Kyler was coming to last month's meeting. Then I had no real background information on to present it myself, or I would have. But I thought she was coming to the meeting, and then I know miscommunication. But then, she talked in between, and she said that she would come to last week's meeting.
What's the deadline?
I don't.
Say on a deadline? I think it's like,
I think it's last week, actually.
they were gonna give us this like extension.
If this is something that comes around annually, maybe we'll put the cart before the horse, and maybe this is something for next year to look at. Have more time to discuss it with council, more time to address all of your concerns, and more time to find a place that's situated, that it would be situated properly. And also to, as you said, Dr. Jeffrey, what does that represent? And I don't know.
I mean, in all fairness, I can agree with all of you guys, but we have, accepted many projects, that after they build it, they sit. Doesn't mean to really do anything as well. But I can agree with, maybe we could do further research and determine if this is something that will extend to be applied as well in the future. And like I said, when is the deadline, the deadline on the grant, and maybe next year, or maybe in a few years, they can decide, we can decide whether or not there's something that. Like,
Stir Rivers of Steel, and where they are, right, backyard, so. And we find ways to collaborate and more, proactive, right, instead of, just kind of reactive.
Do we need to withdraw this?
No, you just vote no.
Yeah. No, why don't we just table it for rather than reject it? We don't want to.
Well, we need to reject, we can approve or reject this round right now. We can always put it back to the agenda later.
The mover of the motion can always amend the motion. Or you could have somebody in the.
Or we can just vote to approve. If they don't want to, they can vote no, right? Oh, that's true then.
Okay, is there, do you all understand?
Yes.
Okay. So, So all in,
Grateful.
so they're gonna have
Grateful.
yes, we are. I like it. It kind of reminds me of you.
Yeah.
Doing that. All right, all in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
Motion does not carry. Motion fails. Okay, those are that's our agenda. Let's move on to our reports, move on to our Council of Government reports, Ms. Grabowski.
Oh, I'm, sorry. Nothing to report, although I will say part of COG is the TriCog land bank. The advisory committee will be meeting next Thursday. I will be attending, forward to learning more about the land bank and how Sweetville and,
Thank you. Connect report, Dr. Alfonso Wells.
Yeah, so Connect is, really on the forefront of this composting project, and we have been selected, chosen, we're part of it now. So they were talking about different types of, compostable equipment that could be set up in different neighborhoods. Now, they did get a small grant, as just a start of the project, right? So we're part of the pilot, right? So we're one of the 10, 20 communities that's part of the pilot, maybe 10. And so they want to put up I don't know, something that looks like a mailbox, but it is like for composting stuff. And it would serve about 100 houses, a huge mailbox, like a big mailbox, right? So they want to put that out. It would have the name of the foundation that offered the grant for the compostable box. There would be a service that would come and pick it up. It would be rat sealed so that there would be no rats that can get in or out. I guess once they get in, they live in there. So, and that was a very important part of it, was to make sure that it was anti-rat, if one could say that. And so that project is moving forward, and I would ask everybody to think of maybe some areas, which probably I think our DPW might have an area where I think it's on the flats and enough people can get to it and people can monitor it. So that might be a spot where people can go and post their stuff there. The problem, of course, we want to make sure people keep an eye on it so that we don't end up with rats at that particular location, wherever it is. So they're working on that, and they're doing, they have some health programs that are gonna come up that I will let everybody know about. They are looking for a director at the moment, so we are on a director search. And yes, that is all I have to report from Connect out.
Will they be rat protected? Is it overly friendly raccoon?
It is critter protected,
Critter.
right? So that, it has like the slot or whatever it is, but I think it's made more for human hands. That I don't know the details on that, but they did say critter proof, and that was part of the selling point of this mailbox thing. And then I think overall, what they are looking for is they wanna, just to start to a project, but overall, they're looking across the region to see if we could have solutions to waste management, so that, different communities can come together, and as the force of different communities, we'll be able to negotiate better types of contracts. That is one of their ultimate goals, eventually, as another part of the project, but it's waste management time, have a lot of these different issues. So I think that's really interesting because it goes along with Brittany's project, which is also another type of composting. And we seem to be a compostable community. We like to compost. So we did compost, we did the worm return, and they were, and it was that other project. I forgot.
Anaerobic digest.
Yeah, so there are many different things, and I think our community is really into it. So we probably get a lot out of it. And you don't have to just be in the area, but it serves like, I think it services about 100 houses. So some people will use it and some people wouldn't, but
So there's already a compost, there's already a community compost bin of sorts by the Swissville Community Garden. That was installed, I want to say maybe a year ago. So you're absolutely right, Dr. Wells, that we are a community of composters. What I really liked about that program is that they taught you how to compost. So if Connect has something similar, that it's not just a resource and a tool, but comes with knowledge and education so that it is in use and not assumed by only the people that use it. So, so wherever it goes or wherever that lands, I would just make sure, taking in mind the proximity to the current one, near the community garden.
Yes, and I think that, I think Connect is all about the educational aspect, so they would probably come out and, get people to sign up. So that they can know which households are doing it, and I think it was also, if I can remember correctly, because it was now 2 months, so I'm trying to think. But, you could like, the houses that participated in, and was also to just keep people from throwing trash in there, you would have your personal code that you would tap in or scan or whatever it was, so that you could open it and use it, and I don't think the raccoons would have that code. Perfect.
You know what, they are really smart.
they're
man.
smart. They're very smart.
Cereal might have.
Very smart. You're right, and so, that was part of it, so it would, I think the educational part would come about with getting people to sign up. To do that, so that's one of their main, but the overall driver of the project is an overall, concept of trying to, I guess, regionalize waste management in a way that can benefit, our small nonprofits.
Who gets the compost at the end, what's the compost?
Ah, that is a question. I think it goes to a composting place because they pick it up, like they come in this, I don't know, a truck or something. I don't know. So I mean, you can use it, I guess. We don't have all those details yet. Still part of the pilot. We're just discussing if we want big mailboxes or, you know, every house gets a pail. I don't know. But I think the big mailbox was the last part of the conversation. And when they get a little further, I'll be able to bring back actual information. But that was just part of the discussion, making sure that there were communities that would agree to sign up. And I know our community is pretty like, you know, on top of, they like composting. So that's just the first part of it, but the overall idea is that it is a bigger waste management project that comes out of it.
Do you know if any other community of similar size and demographics has used a similar mailbox composting? So we're the experiment.
No, we're the pilot here, but yes, other communities have used it, yes.
And how successful has it been?
I'd have to get that data to you, but it seemed like pretty successful because it's a whole business running. But I can get the data to you. That was just, they were just proposing this so that we would start, you know, is this the one you would like to perhaps do? But I will bring that to them and get that other.
It'd be interesting to know if in the real world, once it's actually getting put in place, how many people really do add to their daily list of things to walk the bucket over to the compost mailbox, remember their code, punch it in, dump it, and then. So there's that sort of real world practically speaking, just after the gloss wears off.
Right.
What does happen to the compost once it's composted? And sort of what happens in winter, I mean, my compost pile is still turning away. But I'm pretty sure when it's cold and rainy or snowy, even a motivated person like me, not likely to walk my bucket of compost, even a block away. So there's just, you keep in mind, and maybe to ask opportunities that have used this, what does it look like 6 months, a year, once it's installed? And has it worked the way people hoped and anticipated?
So when I go back to their next meeting, I will bring that, because they had all that presented and stuff, but I'll bring that back and give copies to everybody, so we can, use it, present it. Oh. Bring it in.
Last thing I'll add about composting, it was a Clean Air Council that really helped, last year with the composting. And it was really nice because they did home visits too. to help kind of walk you through in your particular backyard or so on, how to do wood compost, and they did workshops right here at the school too. So maybe connecting with the Clean Air Council and just because they already work in Smithfield, I'm also cognizant of really tapping in and double tapping into the same residents that just heard from about the same thing somewhere else. So just keeping those equity things in mind.
Thank you, Dr. Alphonse. President's report, I have one thing, I was approached by a resident who's an elderly resident who doesn't drive at night, but wanted to share that, she and some of the neighbors were not happy with the discussion we had last week about recycling. And so she passed on to me, there are 40 signatures here who are, against it, and there's some rationale as to why they are, some problems they see with it. There's, some comments from the public on the back, and on this sheet is kind of some suggestions that if we were to still go through with it, maybe some guidance of how to go. So I'm just going to, I want to make that known, since I knew she couldn't be here tonight, but I'll pass that on to Mr. D'Ambrosio and Public Works Committee to evaluate and consider, as we need to discuss proposed changes to the
Mr. Angelo, I just want to say that, is this the camera? I received your letter. I understand.
She is watching now.
100%. So
I'm sure she is watching.
before you hand that to this one.
Okay, you're gonna sign it. Okay.
And that was one of my neighbors, at my weekly daily scroll, she said, oh, Councilwoman Barr, you're just the person I want to talk to. Okay, and so I understand her concern,
Yes.
one of them which was, that as we have seen, people when it's weekly recycling, not everyone is as tidy as we wish they were,
Yeah.
and not everyone's recycling box stuff still floats around. So I think there's a way to deal with that, as we do with litter in general. I did explain our rationale and thinking and encouraged her to, and others who have to talk to me, to listen to last week's agenda meeting, where we went through, I think, pretty clearly our thinking and reasons for adopting it.
Yeah.
Emphasize it's not happening next month, that we wanted to give people time to and for us to explain our thinking and why we proposed this. And encourage them to keep paying attention, that we would do our best to continue to.
Yeah, and and why I wanted to share tonight is I think just to remind us that as we represent the community as elected officials, and there's, whether we want to move forward with this or not, there's work to be done to communicate that, whether it be the rationale, whether it be. This is 40 signatures, which is 0.5% of our population, in less than a week, in one specific geographic area. So I think it's important to make sure.
I just also want to point out that we also didn't have recycling for a month. So it's
That's-
really
that's
fresh
true.
on
I mean,
our
and
minds
then-
up top,
Absolutely.
because we went without
Yeah.
this. And so, I'm absolutely, I'm not in favor of it, and I will not support it.
Yeah.
At all.
But if we had already implemented this, we would not have had the truck breakdown and it never would have been an issue because scheduled maintenance happened, so.
So, I think we have work to do.
They all broke down at
Continue-
once, though.
We have work to do to continue to, kind of have our persuasion, our sparring, whether this is a good idea or not, and rolling that out to the residents and kind of, be our representative. So I'm gonna pass this way, so Mr. Haynes can sign it. You just want to keep passing it on down to Mr. D'Ambrosio. Yes.
Sorry, I just want to
Go ahead.
piggyback on the recycling for a minute.
Yes.
And say that we did get at least 12 people to sign up for the Snow Ninjas program. So that is good. These are people who want to help their neighbors. So we are trying to implement that. I got them together. We could still use some more. It seems like a lot of people are in the flats area. And if it snows, they can't get anywhere, right? So even though there are a couple of people who are willing to travel, they can only go but so far, right? So we would like to see a little more participation up the slopes for those who were interested. I did have a person who is up on, I think, Delaware that needs to that wants help. right? And I don't have anybody in that area. So if you are in that area and you would like to help your neighbor, please let me know, so that we can make sure that we get an angel in contact with, someone in need. And I'm just very, very pleased with how many people signed up. I know it seems small, but it only takes, a few people to start it, and that's what we wanted. So I have, very good helping hands that are more than willing. And interestingly enough, the majority of them are our feet. This is, Women's History Month. The majority of them that signed up were women, right? So, some of them signed their husbands up, but some of them signed themselves up, right? So, kudos to all the people who really want to help their neighbors and who have been helping their neighbors, right? So these were already people that were already helping, right? And they want to continue to do that generously to others. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you do see the Snow Angel QR code floating around and would like to join us, please let us know, because we want to make sure that we're able to activate you as soon as another snow falls. Hopefully not the rest of this winter, but that is our hope. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the mayor's report. Mayor Swartzberg.
I just wanna point out a couple dates, things that are coming up in Swissvale. Reminder that April 4th, that Saturday, April 4th is our annual Easter egg hunt at Memorial Park. That begins at noon and all are welcome. Saturday, June 6th will be the start of Swissvale Farmers Market right here, some parking lot. Sunday, June 13th is our Juneteenth celebration. And July 11th is the Swissvale Mile. Mark your calendars and don't forget to pick up newsletter or read it online. It's chock full of dates and information. And there are 4 Fridays left for the Swissvale Fire Fish Fry. Make sure you patronize that on Irvine Street. And Saturday, April 18th is our community cleanup, 9:30 a.m. W Garage. And don't forget, we spring forward this weekend. So we lose an hour of sleep, but we gain an hour of daylight. So yes, spring is here. Sedco, is there anything you want to add? Did you have anything to announce?
Yeah, well, yes, one is, thank you for the resolution for the grant for the parklet. We did, have a plan in place. We have the application in works. We'll let you know how that goes. We're working with the Bird Town City to kind of lean into our identity as a bird town and the tree city and put up signage and informational signage about our environmental efforts and some places display those official signs and a flagpole with lights. And also with the kid, they can turn the flagpole into a Christmas tree during the holiday season. Want to put some native plants in there for the bird population. And we requested some money for Bird Town Committee to be able to have a project working with school students and the senior citizen to make bird houses. And some of which we display in Parkland and maybe swap them out every year. So hopefully we can get that. We asked for $50,000. So hopefully when that's done, we can. Yeah.
Can I just ask, the thoughts of the flagpole? I love the idea, but who will be in charge of it?
Well, we did not actually
Yeah, just
discuss that yet.
yeah, I'd just like to throw that out in your planning process, is that there are times that you fly a flag and you take it down, and there's a proper way to display it.
Okay.
Which should be considered when building it.
Yeah, we will talk about that and make sure before that goes up that we have a plan in place, because nothing is good if it's not sustainable.
Thanks.
Yeah. So the other thing is the grants,
Curb appeal.
the curb appeal grants. So we still have about $1,500 left, so hopefully when people start doing their spring projects, we can close that up and that money will be. So, okay.
And, I wasn't, not to put you on the spot, but this is your last meeting, so would you like to say anything? All right. I'm sorry, but I should have let you say something earlier, but.
I'm very appreciative for all the opportunities I've had. I was texting my wife, it's hard to believe. It's been 28 years. Whatever. I think it's just a lot to take in. Last couple of weeks. I mean, I had planned on retiring this year anyway, so. You know, it was a little earlier than I anticipated. I was hoping to stay till September, but the opportunity that came up, I just can't pass it, but. I am very grateful to all of you, for your support. And, to all the council people and I've dealt with them. And it's been contentious at times, but I think for the right reason. It was always the desire to make the community better. And, so, you know, being challenged is not a bad thing. So, I just cannot express my gratitude enough to the residents who supported me and the elected officials. And I've had the pleasure of working with, over the past essentially a lifetime that I've worked with. So, thank you. That's all. I'm sorry, I like the one I want to say, we have, I think the staff here is top notch, and all of them who have had the pleasure of working with them the past 1 week. So I think sometimes if I could leave any advice, it would be to understand the people who work here, put their heart and soul into what they do, all of them. So, I hope everybody appreciates that. We're not perfect, you know, we make mistakes, but I think the desire of everybody here is to do a good job and, serve the residents the best I can. So, thank you.
Yes, but good luck in your future. Now, whatever you do, it will be great.
I was talking to my wife and we were saying we're just gonna randomly show up. See who notices us.
And that's my report. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I just want to thank the chief, and I do want to add, you know, oftentimes in our community, in the world, police officers get a bad rap, and sometimes it's warranted, but in this instance, I just want to thank you for representing the chief and the police, as valiantly as you have, and I wish more people would get to know you in this space, so they would understand all police aren't bad, and you know, that maybe you want the good ones. So I thank you so much for allowing me to work with you. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
I will also say that, I met you outside of knowing that you were working in my police department. We were socializing with our kids in the pools and stuff. And at that time, I realized that you were a man of integrity, just in terms of how you handle things, and issues that came up at the pool, right? They weren't even, some of them, you know, pretty severe issues, but you handled them with integrity. And when I found out that you were a police officer here at first and then became the police chief, I was like, wow. And throughout that process, I have seen your integrity, I've seen it behind the scenes, and I've seen it in front of other people. And I'm just so proud to know you. And I thank you very much for making this a good journey for all of us. And I'm gonna miss you, but I know where you live.
I'll be around.
I'll just add, so I have a bit of a different story for Chief. But we met through an instance of gun violence, and I will say, one, you're the first police officer that I've had such a positive interaction with. What Deneen read earlier is so true. Your professionalism is top tier. I truly appreciate that. you also, the fact that you called me, this man called me on my cell phone and asked me how I was doing. Like just in general as a person. And I think that humanity speaks a lot to how you engage with our residents, our community, but also your heart in the work. And to the community that you go to, they have a Jeff. And, you know, when we put humanity in our work, I think it changes things. And the change that you've caused here in Smithfield has been tremendously impactful and positive. And I'll say for myself and my husband, thank you.
You know, Chief, I threatened to go to the council meeting where you were gonna be hired and, you know, slam my fist and raise hell. Because, you know, we are losing an asset, a real asset to our community. Front of the scenes, behind the scenes, you're at everything. You're there. You're the face of this organization. And I've praised the police since way before I even ran for elect at all. We have the best police department. And that is because of good leadership. We have police that can interact with our community, that can confront dangerous situations, de-escalate while respecting citizens, the residents of this community. And that is if nothing else is the testament of your ability. I mean, I think you say all the time, and I'm gonna share this with folks that don't get mad at me. Chief says, we're complaining about parking. He's doing his job. Because we're not complaining about crime, home break-ins, etc. If we're worried about parking, then he's doing his job. You've done an excellent, excellent job. And I'm gonna take advantage on Monday to do the same thing, but come join us on Monday too. But I thank you. Thank you for what you've done with Swissville, and thank you for what you've done to lead this department to the next step. Don't be a stranger. You know where you are. Anybody notices the uniform? The new patch. Tell them the vehicle. Tell them what you've done.
No, it's a team effort. All the time.
Yeah, thank you. Let's move on to Borough Manager. Gratian.
A couple quick things. One of our favorite projects, the Washington Street Bridge. Building's been turned over to Alson Park Contractors and AECom, the engineer. They had an asbestos survey done, utilities were shut off. They're telling me they're looking to demolish next week. Demo permits have been issued, so, you know, everything on our end of it is done out of it. So whenever they get to it, it's going to be kind of an odd thing, the way they're doing it. They're trying to cut the building with a large saw, about 2 feet off from the other building, make another cut next to it, and then pull it off with the machine. Now, they're going to leave the foundation in place for now, because they don't have a plan yet of how they're gonna support that wall. You know, so that side there to be a new slope or something, whatnot. So they will present us with a plan before they do anything permanent. They will be leaving basement walls in place for now, but they're fixing the footers, and then they're ready to roll. They said the bridge is in the area, that's where it's being stored. They said it'd be here, you know, in half a day. So as soon as they have all the work done on the footers and on the foundation, then they said they'll be working 8 to 10 to 12 hours some days to get the bridge fabricated and installed. So that's where that is. Borough building, we're over 60% complete based upon what we paid out. Based on what we did bill, not what we paid out. I have a couple bills pending. But those go to the end of one of them is mid-February, a couple of them are end of February. So we're probably close to 65% complete. If you've been by there, if you go by on South Braddock this week, take a look over what plastic was. You'll see what it's up on the left-hand side of the building. Looks very nice. The block, the decorative block on the back of the building is installed for the most part. And you know, they're going to continue, especially with this warmer weather coming next 2 weeks. They'll be ready to be moving on that work quite a bit. Interiors, a lot of drywall, most of the drywall's in place. All the installations in. You know, they'll be ready to start finishes here probably, I guess 6-7 weeks. Most of the HVAC system's done, about 2/3 of the electric's done. So it's moving along, still only have one change. So we're some wood to knock on, we're doing, it's coming along very well. Last thing I have is, our next regular meeting, this is the meeting here in Dixon, will be held on April 6th. If you remember, we passed the schedule last year, April 1st, first day of Passover, so this meeting Monday, April 6th. The agenda meeting is still be on March 25th via Zoom, and then this regular meeting will be April 6th. That's all I have.
Right, if they let you know when they're going to demolish the building, send us a.
Yeah, sure. I actually sent Corey, the project manager, today at Nelson Park Contractors, sent an email out when, when they finalize the date, let me know, because I know Mrs. DeGarno wants to be there. And I talked to her this afternoon, and I told her, I said, I'm waiting on the date, but I told her, I said, if you need to ride, I'll come get you. Just so that she can, it's very sentimental to her, and I think she's gonna be crying when it happens, but I think she definitely wants to see. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Bakshi. We're going to move on to the engineer's report. Mr. Ciscow is not here. Mr. Ruffner is going to stand in his place.
Yeah, Bob obviously gave a lot of reading material here, and I'm sure read word for word. Kidding, I actually have three little things here for you. Bids for the Slate Avenue sanitary sewer are scheduled through the COG on March 24th. Avenue sites are also scheduled through the COG on March 24th as well. And finally, bids for the CD50 handicap ramps will be scheduled through the COG in a. Actually, all I had.
Wonderful. Thanks for not reading that.
We won't tell about.
Save it related.
We'll tell you, we will tell you before.
That's the water authority for this conference.
Now, this is an overview of the board meeting that took place on February 24th. The authority director has agreed to a 10-year employee contract. Penvest Grant Phase 3 had 53 replacements since the last update. It's 798 completed. For Phase 4, advertisements are running or were running through 2/27. Bidding will begin on 3/6 with an opening on April 7th. The intent is to award 2 contracts at our April board meeting, with the loan to close in June. Our computer systems are being moved to Edmunds GovTech. The company was to be in town to review the business plan and work with personnel over the next 2 weeks. The Citizens Advisory Committee is meeting on March 9th. Mainline breaks, there were 74 system-wide. Since the last board meeting, 1 was in Swissvale, 143 distribution services or repairs, 3 in Swissvale. There was other business conducted, including approval and status of infrastructure projects. The agenda, engineers report, and other documents are available online. And if you see or have any water issues, please contact customer service at 412-243-6200. That's my report. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other than the fact we started our title searches for the demolitions, I don't have anything else to add.
Any announcements before we adjourn?
I would like to announce that Monday we will be appointing the Braddock Hill Police Department. We'll be appointing Sergeant David Satia as the interim chief as Warren. So.
Yeah. Where is that meeting being held?
That meeting is being held in Braddock Hills this week. We switch back and forth. We switch back and forth every other month. So this week, this Monday's meeting is in Braddock Hills at the Senior Center, right at Columbia and Bridge Road. On the right-hand side, left-hand side, where you see our officers sit often, they can park in there, come in and visit us. Enjoy experience. I think let's go Braddock Hills Region. Just
want to announce on March 18th, there will be a Black Business meetup, that is going to meet up in Smithville at 6 o'clock at B and thing on Noble Street, the new coffee shop. So we're Black Business Owners in Smithville. It's first time meetup. It's just as a support things. It's 6 o'clock.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn, 8:11.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Here.
Abstention.
Abstention.
Oh, it's up.